My wedding dress! Oh my God, my wedding dress! I can't move, can't breathe, can't process what I'm seeing. The bedroom door was open when I got home. I always close that door. And now I know why it was open. My mother's wedding dress is on the floor. The one I've protected for 8 years. The one I had restored. The one I was going to wear to marry Scott. It's in pieces. Someone came into my home and destroyed it. The rage hits me so hard, my vision blurs. I know who did this. I'm grabbing my keys when I hear the front door open. Babe, you home? Scott. He walks into the bedroom and stops, stares at the floor, at the destroyed dress. What happened? My voice comes out cold, flat. Laura. Want to know how a wedding dress led to the biggest family explosion you've ever heard? Stick around. This story is just getting started. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, so let me explain how I ended up in this nightmare. I'm Ava Matthews, 25, and up until about 3 hours ago, I thought I had my life pretty together. I work as a marketing assistant. I'm engaged to the most amazing guy, and I was this close to having the wedding of my dreams. Notice I said was? Let me start at the beginning. My mom, Gina, was incredible. Everyone who knew her will tell you the same thing. She was funny, warm, beautiful, and she made our little family feel complete. She and my dad, Jeffrey, were that couple everyone wanted to be. You know the type, finishing each other's sentences, inside jokes, the whole thing. And then she died. Heart attack. Sudden. I was 14 years old. One day I had a mom who was helping me pick out homecoming dresses and teaching me how to do winged eyeliner. And the next day, I didn't. Dad was a mess. I was a mess. We were both just floating through life, trying to figure out how to exist without her. For 3 years, it was just me and Dad. We grieved together. We kept Mom's photos up around the house. We talked about her. It hurt, but we were getting through it. And then when I was 17, Dad remarried. Then, ladies and gentlemen, enter the eternal witch with a capital B. Laura. Now, Laura was on her 4th marriage. Yeah, 4th. But Dad didn't seem to care about that. He was lonely. The house felt empty. And Laura was there. At first, I actually tried. I really did. Dad was smiling again, laughing again. He seemed happy for the first time in years. And I thought, okay, maybe this is good. Maybe we can be a family again. Maybe I can have a mom figure in my life. Laura was nice enough at first, a little cold, a little distant, but I figured she was just adjusting. I told myself to give her time. I was so wrong. It was about 6 months after the wedding. I came home from school one day, and something felt off the second I walked in the door. Then I saw my mother's photos, the ones that had been on the mantle, on the walls, on the bookshelf, were in the trash. Not packed away carefully in a box, not stored in the attic. In the trash, frames and all. I just stood there, staring at the garbage can, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. These weren't just photos. They were my mom. They were proof she existed, that she was part of our family, that she mattered. And Laura had thrown her away. I ran to my old room, terrified that she'd thrown away everything. And thank God, my mom's wedding dress was still hanging in my closet. So were a few photo albums I'd kept in there. I grabbed everything, the dress, the albums, every picture I could find, and stormed downstairs. Laura was in the kitchen, humming to herself like nothing was wrong. What did you do? My voice was shaking. She turned around, all innocent. Oh, Ava, I didn't know you'd be home so early. The photos, my mom's photos, why are they in the trash? She had the audacity to sigh, like I was being unreasonable. Ava, honey, it was time to move on. Those photos were just making your father sad. They're all I have left of her, I yelled. Well, I'm here now, she said, like that was supposed to make it better. And I think it's important that we focus on our current family. We need to make this house feel like our home. Fresh start and all that. That's when I lost it. Full-on screaming match. I told her she had no right, that this was my mother, that she couldn't just erase her like she never existed. Dad came home in the middle of it, and you know what he did? He told me to calm down. He said Laura was just trying to help make the house feel like theirs. He said I was being dramatic and holding on to the past. Then he told me to apologize to Laura for yelling at her. Huh? Apologize? I looked at my dad, this man who'd cried at my mom's funeral, who told me we'd always keep her memory alive, and I didn't recognize him. Why would you let her do this, Dad? I asked him, quieter now. These were my mom's memories, our memories. How could you just let her throw them away? He didn't answer, just stood there, looking at the floor, while Laura dabbed at fake tears with a tissue. That was the moment I realized. He'd already chosen Laura over me, over Mom's memory, over everything. I stopped talking to Laura that day completely. I'd be polite when I had to be, but that was it. No more trying, no more hoping we could be a family. She has lost my respect. And when I turned 18, I moved out. Got a tiny apartment with a roommate, worked 2 jobs to pay rent, and didn't look back. I took Mom's dress with me, and the photos I'd saved, they were all I had left of her. The next few years were hard, but I was finally free. I could breathe again. And then, when I was 21, I met Scott Holloway at a friend's birthday party. Scott is amazing. He's a legal clerk at his mom's law firm. He's kind, funny, and he didn't treat me like I was broken just because I'd lost my mom. He actually listened when I talked about her. He wanted to hear stories about her. He understood that grief doesn't just disappear. His parents, Elias and Donna, were incredible too. Donna's this sharp, no-nonsense lawyer, the kind of woman who walks into a room and everyone pays attention. Elias is this warm, successful businessman who treats everyone like family, and they welcomed me with open arms. They invited me to family dinners. They asked about my life, my job, my dreams. For the first time since Mom died, I felt like I had a real family again. Scott and I dated for 3 years, and then 3 months ago, he proposed at the little restaurant where we had our first date. I ugly cried so hard the waiter thought something was wrong. I said yes immediately, and that's when I knew. I wanted to wear my mom's dress at my wedding. I'd kept it safe all these years. I'd even had it professionally restored, spent months researching the right people, saved up the money, made sure every detail was perfect. The designer gown from Mom's wedding in the late 90s was beautiful, timeless, elegant. And when I tried it on after the restoration, I felt like she was there with me. That dress was going to be how I kept Mom with me on the biggest day of my life. But there was still one problem. Dad. Scott and I had been engaged for a month when he brought it up. We were sitting on the couch, addressing Save the Dates, and he looked over at me. Have you thought about inviting your dad? I kept writing. Not really. Ava! What? I set down my pen. You know how things are with him. I know, but he's still your dad. Don't you want him there? Don't you want him to walk you down the aisle? He said. I was quiet for a long time. The truth? I did. As angry as I was, as much as he'd let me down, he was still my dad, and some stupid, naive part of me still wanted him at my wedding. Still wanted that father-daughter moment. He knew about Scott, but never spent time to know him. If I invite him, I have to invite Laura, I said finally. Do you? He asked. He won't come without her. You know he won't. Scott reached over and took my hand. Just think about it. Call him. See what he says. If he makes it weird, then we'll know. But maybe this could be a chance to fix things. I loved Scott's optimism. I really did. But he didn't know my dad like I did. Still, I made the call. Dad answered on the 3rd ring. Ava, this is a nice surprise. Hey, Dad, I wanted to tell you something. Scott and I are getting married. Oh, sweetheart, that's wonderful. Congratulations. He actually sounded happy, which made this harder. When's the wedding? We're still planning, but probably next spring. And Dad, I want you there. I want you to walk me down the aisle. There was a pause, a long one. Then, of course I'll be there. Laura and I would love to. No, I said, interrupting him. No? What do you mean, Ava? Laura's not invited, Dad. After what she did, throwing away Mom's photos, everything else, I don't want her at my wedding, I said. The silence on the other end was deafening. Then his voice changed, got that tone, the one I'd heard 100 times over the past 8 years. Ava, please, you need to let that go. It's been 8 years. Laura's my wife. If you want me at your wedding, you need to make amends with her. Make amends? I could feel my blood pressure rising. Dad, she threw away Mom's photos like they were garbage. It was years ago, he interrupted. You're still holding on to this grudge, and it's not healthy. Laura's made mistakes, sure, but so have you. If you can't be civil to her, then I can't come to the wedding. I won't have my family divided like this. I felt like I'd been slapped. So you're choosing her again? I said. I'm choosing peace, Ava. I'm choosing to move forward instead of dwelling in the past. Now, I'd love to meet Scott's parents. Why don't we all have dinner? You, me, Laura, Scott, and his family. We can talk this through like adults. Work things out. I wanted to say no. I wanted to tell him to forget it, that I'd walk down the aisle alone if I had to. But Scott was looking at me with those hopeful eyes, and some weak part of me still wanted my dad at my wedding. Fine, I said through gritted teeth. Dinner. But I'm not apologizing to her for something she did. We'll see, he said, like I was a child who'd come around eventually. I'll set something up and text you the details. I really think this will be good for all of us. I hung up and immediately wanted to throw my phone across the room. What did he say? Scott asked. He won't come without Laura. And he wants us all to have dinner so he can play happy family and pretend everything's fine. Scott pulled me into a hug. It'll be okay. My parents will be there. You won't be alone in this. I'd already warned Donna and Elias about Laura, about the photos, about how cold she'd always been, about how she couldn't stand any mention of my mom. Donna had just smiled that knowing smile and said, "Don't worry. I've dealt with people like her before. We've got your back." At the time, I didn't realize just how much I was going to need that. The restaurant was nice. Too nice, honestly. One of those places with cloth napkins, dim lighting, and waiters who refilled your water after every sip. Scott's parents got there first. Donna looked elegant and intimidating in a navy blazer. Very much the successful lawyer. Elias was warm and charming in a crisp button-down. They hugged me, told me I looked beautiful, and I felt like I could breathe again. Remember, Donna said quietly, squeezing my hand. We've got your back tonight, whatever happens. Then Dad and Laura walked in. Dad looked nervous, tugging at his collar. Laura looked polished, hair perfect, makeup flawless, wearing a dress that probably cost more than my monthly rent. And that smile, wide, bright, and completely fake. Ava! She came in with arms wide open like we were long-lost friends. I sidestepped, and she settled for an awkward side hug that I didn't return. You look so nice. Doesn't she look nice, Jeffrey? She looks beautiful, Dad said, giving me a hopeful smile. Laura turned to Scott's parents. And you must be Elias and Donna. I've heard so much about you. She went in for a hug with Donna, who smoothly sidestepped it and offered a handshake instead. It's nice to meet you, Donna said, her voice polite but cool. I loved her so much in that moment. Elias shook hands with both Dad and Laura, ever the diplomat. Jeffrey, Laura, pleasure. We've been looking forward to this. We all sat down. The waiter came by, took drink orders. For a few minutes, it was fine. Small talk. Safe topics. So Jeffrey, Elias said, Ava mentioned you're an accountant? Dad nodded, launching into a story about his firm. Laura sat beside him, smiling, playing the supportive wife. But I could feel her eyes on me every few seconds. The drinks arrived. Laura took a long sip of her wine, then leaned forward with that bright smile. So, a spring wedding. How exciting! She looked at me. Have you started planning yet, honey? We've started, I said carefully. We found a venue. Oh, wonderful! Which one? The Riverside Gardens. Oh, Laura's smile flickered just for a second. That's quaint, a bit small, isn't it? I mean, for a wedding. But is that what you want? She trailed off, taking another sip of wine. Scott's jaw tightened. It's perfect for what we want. Intimate, beautiful. Of course, Laura said quickly. I didn't mean anything by it. I just know someone who does event planning, and she has access to some gorgeous venues. Bigger spaces, in case you want to invite more people. We don't, I said flatly. Right. Well, Laura set down her glass. I was actually thinking, Ava, that maybe you and I could go venue shopping together. Just the two of us. It could be a bonding experience. We already have a venue, Scott interjected. Of course, I just thought... Actually, Donna cut in smoothly. Ava and Scott have already discussed their vision for the wedding very thoroughly. We're here tonight to support whatever they've decided. Isn't that right, Elias? Absolutely, Elias nodded. It's their day. Laura's smile tightened just a fraction. Of course, I completely understand. I just want to help where I can. That's what family does, right? She looked at me when she said family, and I felt my stomach twist. The waiter came back. We ordered food. Another few minutes of safe conversation. Scott's job, Elias's business, the weather. Then Laura started again. She said, setting down her fork. I was telling Jeffrey just the other day how excited I am to finally be involved in wedding planning. I've always wanted to help plan a wedding. She looked at me with that same bright smile. I never had a daughter of my own, so this is really special for me. I felt Scott's hand find mine under the table and squeeze. That's nice, I managed. I know things have been difficult between us, Laura continued, her voice getting softer, more vulnerable. And I take responsibility for that. I know I haven't always handled things perfectly, but I really want this wedding to be a fresh start for us, Ava. A chance for us to finally be a real family. Donna was watching Laura like a hawk. I could see her lawyer brain analyzing every word. I just have so many ideas, Laura went on. Colors, flowers, the reception layout. Oh, and the dress. Ava, we absolutely have to go dress shopping together. There's this boutique I know. They have the most stunning designer gowns. Actually, I said, my voice coming out harder than I intended, I'm wearing my mom's wedding dress. The table went quiet. Laura's smile froze on her face. Your mother's dress? Yeah, I had it professionally restored. It's beautiful, and it's perfect, and I'm wearing it. Laura blinked a few times, like she was processing. Then her expression shifted, just slightly. The smile stayed, but something in her eyes changed. Oh, she said softly. I see. It's a lovely way to honor Gina, Elias said warmly. Laura took a long sip of her wine. That's very sentimental. The word sentimental came out with just the tiniest edge. It's important to Ava, Scott said firmly. Of course it is, Laura said quickly. I understand. It's just... She set down her glass and looked at me with this wounded expression. I guess I just thought maybe you'd want me to be part of that experience. The dress shopping, that's such a special mother-daughter thing. And I thought, maybe, her voice got quieter, maybe you'd finally let me be there for you. Laura, Dad started, clearly uncomfortable. But she kept going, her eyes getting shiny with tears that I wasn't sure were real. I've tried so hard, Ava. For years I've tried to build a relationship with you, but you've shut me out at every turn. And I understand, I do. I know I'm not Gina. I could never replace your mother. But I thought after all this time, you might at least give me a chance. That's not fair, I said, my voice shaking now. You're the one who... Who what? Laura's voice got sharper. Who married your father? Who tried to make a home for you? Who's been nothing but patient while you've treated me like I'm some kind of villain? You threw away her photos, Scott said quietly. The table went silent. Laura's face flushed. That was years ago, and I've apologized. No, you haven't, I said. You've never apologized, not once. Laura looked at Dad, then back at me. Ava, I did what I thought was best for your father. He was so sad all the time. Surrounded by all those memories. Those memories were all I had left. My voice was rising now. She was my mother. And I've been trying to be a mother to you. Laura's voice rose to match mine. But you won't let me. You hold on to this ghost. Don't you dare, I said, standing up. Ava, please, Dad said, half rising from his seat. Everyone, let's just calm down. Calm down? I looked at him. Dad, she's sitting here acting like I'm the problem, like I'm the one who ruined our relationship. But she threw away Mom's photos like they were trash. It was a mistake, Laura said, and now she was crying, or at least tears were coming down her face. I made a mistake. I was trying to help Jeffrey move on. And yes, maybe I went about it the wrong way, but you have never forgiven me. You've held this grudge for years. Because you never apologized, I shouted. The tables around us had gone quiet. People were staring. Donna set down her napkin very carefully. I think, she said, her voice cutting through the tension like ice, that Ava has every right to honor her late mother however she chooses. And I think it's incredibly inappropriate for anyone to suggest otherwise. Laura turned to her, mascara starting to run. I'm not suggesting, I just want to be included. Then perhaps you should have thought about that before discarding her mother's photographs, Donna said coolly. Elias nodded. We support Ava completely in this. Laura looked between them, then at Dad, then at me. Her face was red and blotchy now, and she was breathing hard. This is exactly what I'm talking about, she said, her voice shaking. Everyone always takes her side. Poor Ava, who lost her mother. Poor Ava, who can't let go of the past. But what about me? What about what I've been through? Trying to build a relationship with someone who hates me. I don't hate you, I said quietly. But I don't trust you, and I'm not going to pretend we're some happy family when you've done nothing but try to erase my mother from our lives. Your mother has been gone for over 10 years, Ava. Laura's voice cracked. At some point, you need to move on. At some point, you need to accept that I'm here now. I'm your father's wife. I'm the one who's alive. The restaurant had gone completely silent. Donna stood up. I think we're done here. I grabbed my purse, hands shaking. Scott was already on his feet, pulling out his wallet and throwing cash on the table. Ava, wait, Dad started. No, I said. I'm done. We're done. You see, Laura said to Dad, her voice rising. You see how she treats me? I try to extend an olive branch. I try to be kind, and this is what I get? By telling her to move on from her dead mother, Scott said, his voice hard. That's your idea of kindness? I didn't mean it like that. Yes, you did, I said. I looked at Dad. And you're going to let her, just like you always do. Ava, please, Dad said. Can we all just take a breath and... I think it's best if we leave, Donna said firmly. She looked at Dad and Laura. We'll be in touch about the wedding. But let me be very clear. Ava and Scott are in charge of their own wedding. They will make their own decisions. And those decisions will be respected. She turned to me. Come on, sweetheart. Scott put his arm around me and we headed for the door. Behind us, I could hear Laura's voice, high and wounded. Jeffrey, you're going to let them just leave? After everything after how they've treated me? The restaurant door closed behind us, cutting off her voice. We stood outside in the parking lot and I realized I was shaking all over. I'm sorry, I said to Donna and Elias. I'm so sorry. That was... Don't apologize. Donna said firmly. She pulled me into a hug. You have nothing to apologize for. That woman is a piece of work, Elias said, shaking his head. Textbook manipulation, the tears, the victim complex, the guilt tripping. She's been doing it for years, I said, my voice muffled against Donna's shoulder. Well, she's done now, Donna said. She pulled back and looked at me. We're not letting her anywhere near your wedding. And if your father has a problem with that, that's his issue to deal with. Scott kissed the top of my head. Come on, let's get out of here. As we drove away, I looked back at the restaurant. Through the window, I could see Dad and Laura still at the table. Laura was crying into her napkin, and Dad had his head in his hands. I turned away. Scott squeezed my hand. You okay? Yeah, I said. Actually, I think I am. Because for the first time, I'd stood up to Laura with people who actually had my back, and it felt like I could finally breathe. So that dinner went about as badly as it could, but at least Scott's parents saw exactly who Laura is, manipulative, self-centered, and desperate for control. Little did we know, Laura was about to escalate in the worst possible way. Next chapter, 2 weeks later, and I come home to find my bedroom door open. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
2 weeks after the disastrous dinner, life had settled into a new normal. Scott and I were in full wedding planning mode. We'd confirmed the venue, picked out invitations, and I'd even scheduled another appointment to have the dress fitted one more time just to make sure everything was perfect. Dad had tried calling a few times. I didn't answer. He left voicemails saying we needed to talk about what happened and find a way to move forward as a family. I deleted them without listening to the whole message. Laura surprisingly hadn't tried to contact me at all. I took that as a win. It was a Saturday. Scott had gone to his parents' house to help his dad fix their dishwasher, something about a weird noise it was making. I had my quarterly marketing team meeting at the office. Boring, but necessary. I got home around 3 in the afternoon, already thinking about the leftover Thai food in the fridge and maybe watching a movie with Scott when he got back. But the second I walked into the apartment, something felt wrong. I couldn't put my finger on it at first. Nothing looked obviously out of place, but there was this feeling, like someone had been there. Then I saw it, a coffee mug on the kitchen counter. One of mine, with coffee still in it. I hadn't had coffee that morning. I'd had tea. I always had tea on Saturdays. My heart started pounding. Maybe Scott had come back? But no, he always used his travel mug, never the ceramic ones. And he'd texted me an hour ago saying he was still at his parents' place. I walked further into the apartment, my skin prickling. That's when I saw my bedroom door. It was open. I always close that door. Always. It's this weird habit I've had since I was a kid. I can't leave the bedroom door open when I leave the apartment. It drives Scott crazy sometimes, but I always do it. Hello? My voice came out shaky. Scott, is anyone here? Just silence. My hands were trembling as I pulled out my phone. I almost called 911, almost called Scott. But then I remembered we'd installed security cameras a few months ago, just basic ones, but they recorded everything. I opened the app with shaking hands. Maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe I'd forgotten to close the door this morning. Maybe I'd made coffee and forgotten about it. But I knew I hadn't. I pulled up the footage from earlier today and hit play. For a while, nothing. The apartment was empty, just the way we'd left it. Then at 1:47 p.m., the front door opened. My breath caught in my throat. It wasn't Scott. It was Laura. I watched, frozen, as she let herself into my apartment with a key, not breaking in, not picking the lock. She had a key, Dad's key, the one I'd given him for emergencies, the one he kept with his other keys at home. She must have taken it. Laura stepped inside and closed the door behind her. For a moment, she just stood there in the entryway, looking around like she was taking it all in. She'd never been here before. I'd made sure of that. But she didn't look nervous, didn't look like she was worried about getting caught. She looked focused, determined. She walked into the living room first, glancing around, then the kitchen. That's when she made the coffee, I realized with disgust, like she was settling in, getting comfortable. Then she started opening doors. The bathroom first. She looked inside, shook her head, closed it. Then the hall closet. Opened it, looked through it briefly, closed it. She was searching for something. My heart was pounding now because I knew what she was looking for. She found the bedroom next, walked inside and looked around at the bed, the dresser, the photos on the nightstand. Then she went straight to the closet. She opened it and started pushing my clothes aside methodically, looking through everything, checking the floor, the shelves. And then she found it. The garment bag in the back, the one where I kept my mother's wedding dress. She pulled it out carefully, like she knew exactly what it was, laid it across my bed, unzipped it slowly, and then she reached into her purse and pulled out scissors. Scissors. She'd brought scissors with her. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing. This wasn't her stumbling across the dress and losing control. She came here specifically to destroy it. She searched my apartment until she found it. And then she cut it to pieces. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I just watched as Laura began cutting through the dress. Not random cuts, not accidental tears. Methodical, deliberate, vicious. She cut through the bodice, through the sleeves, through the skirt. The beautiful beadwork that had been so painstakingly restored, destroyed. The delicate lace, shredded. The silk fabric that had survived almost 30, ruined. And the look on her face. I could see it clearly on the camera. She wasn't crying, wasn't upset. She looked satisfied, almost pleased with herself. When she was done, she just dropped the dress on the floor. Didn't even try to hide what she'd done. Just stepped over it, put the scissors back in her purse, and walked out of my apartment. The timestamp said 2:03 p.m., 16 minutes. That's all it took for her to destroy the one thing I had left of my mother. My phone almost slipped from my shaking hands. I looked toward my bedroom and my feet were moving before I could think. The dress was on the floor, exactly where she'd left it. I fell to my knees and picked it up, and the fabric just fell apart in my hands. The bodice, the skirt, the sleeves, all of it cut to ribbons, the delicate beadwork scattered across the floor, the lace hanging in tatters. This was supposed to be my wedding dress. This was supposed to be how I had my mom with me on the biggest day of my life, and Laura destroyed it. The grief hit me first, this overwhelming, crushing wave of loss, like losing my mom all over again. And then came the rage, not just anger, pure, burning, blinding fury. Laura had come into my home, had used my father's key, had brought scissors specific for this purpose, had destroyed my mother's dress and then just left, like it was nothing. I grabbed my keys, the destroyed dress still in my other hand. I was going to drive to her house right now. I was going to make her look at what she'd done. That's when I heard Scott's keys in the door. "Babe, I'm home. Dad's dishwasher is finally fixed." He stopped in the bedroom doorway. "Ava?" He saw me on the floor, saw the dress in my hands, saw my face. "What happened?" I couldn't speak. My throat was too tight. I just shoved my phone at him, the security footage still pulled up. He watched it. I saw his expression change from confusion to shock to absolute fury. His voice was shaking. "She planned this. She brought scissors." I nodded, tears streaming down my face now. "I'm going over there," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. "I want to hurt her so bad." I meant it. In that moment, I genuinely meant it. "Ava, no." Scott reached for me. "She destroyed my mother's dress." I was screaming now, trying to push past him. "She came into our home and I know. Scott caught my arms, holding me back. "Let me go." I was fighting him now, shoving, hitting his chest, trying to get past him. I have to. "Ava, stop." Scott's voice was firm. "You can't go over there like this. If you do, she wins. She'll call the cops, say you threatened her, and suddenly you're the bad guy." "I don't care," my voice cracked. "She hurt my mother. She threw her on the floor like garbage." I was sobbing now, great heaving sobs that shook my whole body. Scott pulled me against his chest and I collapsed into him, still clutching pieces of the dress. "I know, baby. I know. But we're not doing this her way. We're doing this the right way." He was already pulling out his phone with one hand, the other arm tight around me. "We're calling my mom. She'll know what to do." He hit dial, and I heard it ring on speaker. "Scott?" Donna answered on the first ring. "What's wrong?" "Mom." Scott's voice was tight, controlled, but I could hear the fury underneath. "Laura broke into our apartment. She destroyed Ava's mother's wedding dress. We have her on security camera. What do we do?" I couldn't hear what Donna was saying on the other end, but Scott's face was grim as he listened. Okay, yeah, we will. Thanks, Mom." He hung up and looked at me. She's coming over. She said don't call Laura yet. Don't do anything until she gets here. She's bringing Dad and food because she said we need to eat first. I don't want to eat. I want to. I know. He pulled me into his arms again, and I finally broke down completely, sobbing into his chest while he held me. 20 minutes felt like forever. And in that 20 minutes, I have already imagined the things I wanted to do to hurt Laura and make her sorry for what she did. But finally the doorbell rang. Donna swept in like a force of nature, all business, with Elias right behind her carrying takeout bags. "Where's the footage?" Donna asked, already pulling out her laptop. Scott pulled it up on his phone and sent it to her. She watched it once, her face getting harder with each second. "This is clear-cut breaking and entering, destruction of property. We'll file a police report Monday morning." She looked at me, and her expression softened just slightly. "Ava, I know you're angry. You have every right to be. But we're going to handle this properly, and we're going to make sure she faces consequences. Legal ones." "I want to call her," I said. "I want her to know that I know." Donna considered this. "Okay, but keep it short. Don't threaten her physically." "And I mean that, Ava. No matter how much you want to. Tell her you have evidence and you're taking legal action. That's it. Can you do that?" I nodded, even though my hands were still shaking. I pulled out my phone and dialed before I could change my mind. Laura answered on the third ring, her voice all sugary sweet. "Ava, what a lovely surprise. What did you do?" My voice came out low, shaking with barely controlled rage. "I'm sorry? I don't understand. My mother's wedding dress. What did you do?" A pause. Then her voice changed, got more careful. "Sweetheart, I have no idea what you're talking about. Is something wrong? Did something happen to it?" Of course she was going to lie. Of course she was. "Someone broke into my apartment today," I said, each word carefully controlled even though I wanted to scream. "Someone used a key to get in. Someone who knew exactly where my mother's dress was kept. Someone who brought scissors. That's terrible. Have you called the police? Jeffrey and I can come right over. I have security cameras, Laura." Dead, complete silence. "I have video of you," I continued, my voice getting harder, "walking into my apartment with Dad's key, going straight to my bedroom, taking out my mother's dress, cutting it to pieces with scissors you brought in your purse, and then dropping it on the floor like garbage." The silence stretched longer this time. When Laura finally spoke, the sugary sweetness was gone. Her voice was cold, bitter. "That dress was a slap in my face. You choosing a dead woman over me at every turn. You never gave me a chance. You threw away her photos." I was yelling now, couldn't help it. "You tried to erase her from our lives." "Because your father needed to move on." Laura's voice rose to match mine. "But you wouldn't let him. You kept her alive with your photos and your dress and your constant grieving. I'm his wife now, Ava. Not her, me. But you've never accepted that. You just committed a crime, Laura. You broke into my home and destroyed my property." She actually laughed. "It was just a dress, Ava. An old, outdated dress that you were holding on to like some kind of security blanket. You're being dramatic." "Just a dress?" My voice cracked. "That was my mother. That was all I had left of her. And you knew that. That's exactly why you did it." Scott squeezed my shoulder. Donna was watching me carefully, making sure I didn't cross any lines. I forced myself to take a breath, to calm down. "I'm giving you one chance, Laura. One? You're going to pay for the restoration, every single cent. You're going to apologize, and you're going to stay away from me and my wedding." "Or what?" She sounded almost amused now. "You'll show your father that video? He'll never believe I meant any harm. I'll tell him the dress was too fragile, that it just fell apart when I tried to help preserve it." "I'm not showing it to Dad," I said quietly. "I'm showing it to the police. And to Scott's mother. She's a lawyer, and she's very interested in your little breaking and entering adventure." Another pause. I could hear her breathing change. "And Laura, if you come near me, near Scott, near our apartment, near our wedding, I will make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of person you are. Every friend, every family member, every person Dad works with, I will ruin you." "You're threatening me." "No, I'm promising you. Stay away from me, you witch." I hung up before she could respond. My hands were shaking again, but this time it wasn't just from rage. It was from adrenaline, from finally saying everything I'd wanted to say to her for years. Scott squeezed my shoulder. "You did good. She's scared, Donna observed. Good, she should be. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Laura. Please, Ave, I'm begging you. Take down the video. I'll do anything. I showed it to Donna. Don't respond, she said. Let her panic. Another text. Your father is devastated. You're tearing this family apart. Then another. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please, I turned my phone to silent and set it face down on the table. She's spiraling, I said. Let her. Donna replied. She made her choices. Now she gets to live with the consequences. But I wasn't done. Not even close. I looked at my phone again, thinking about the family group chat, the one that had both my mom's side and my dad's side. The one Laura had wormed her way into 5 years ago when she married my dad. I need to tell my family, I said. They need to know what she did. Donna nodded. That's your right. Just document everything. Save all messages, all responses. We might need them. I opened the chat and started typing. My fingers moved quickly, explaining what had happened. Then I attached the security footage. 3 clips. Laura entering with the key. Laura cutting the dress. Laura leaving it destroyed on the floor. Then I attached photos. The dress before, beautiful, restored, perfect. The dress after, shredded, destroyed, ruined. I added a brief message explaining that Laura had used Dad's key to break into my apartment while I was at work, that she'd brought scissors, that this was planned and deliberate. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. My phone immediately started buzzing, and it didn't stop. Within seconds, the family chat exploded. My mom's side, Aunt Maria, Uncle David, Aunt Sarah, they were furious. Messages poured in asking if it was real, saying they couldn't believe Laura would do this, threatening to drive over to her house right now. Dad's side wasn't much better. Grandma Helen was demanding to know how Dad let this happen. Aunt Karen was saying she'd always known Laura was trouble. Uncle Tom was calling it criminal. And then Laura tried to defend herself in the chat. She tried to explain, tried to say it was a mistake, that she was upset, that everyone was ganging up on her. But my family wasn't having it. They told her to get out of the chat. They said she'd planned it, brought scissors, and that there was no excuse. Dad tried to ask if we could handle it privately, but Aunt Maria shut him down immediately. This was a family matter. That dress belonged to all of them, to Gina's memory. The messages kept coming, hundreds of them. Support for me. Fury at Laura. Disbelief that this had actually happened. Then a private message popped up from my cousin Emily. She wanted to post the video publicly, on social media, so everyone would know what Laura did. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. Scott looked over my shoulder. What is it? Emily wants to post the video publicly, on Instagram. Donna looked up from her laptop. That's your call, Ava. It's your footage, your story. But I'll say this, once it's out there, you can't take it back. It will go viral. Are you prepared for that? I thought about Laura, about how she'd played the victim for years, about how she'd convinced my dad that I was the problem, about how she'd walked into my home and destroyed the one thing I had left of my mother, about how she'd dropped that dress on the floor like it was nothing. Yes, I said, post it. I typed back to Emily, giving her permission. Less than 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed with a notification. Emily had tagged me on Instagram. I clicked it and my stomach dropped. She'd posted the security footage, all 3 clips edited together seamlessly. The caption explained everything, who Laura was, what she'd done, and why. The video had been up for barely a minute and already had 50 likes. I refreshed. 120. Refreshed again. 215. Oh my God, I whispered. It's already going viral. Within minutes, the shares started rolling in. Aunt Maria posted it on Facebook. Uncle David tweeted it. Aunt Sarah shared it in multiple groups. Even Scott's parents shared it. And the comments, they were brutal. People were horrified, angry, calling Laura every name in the book. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Notifications, messages, tags from people I hadn't talked to in years. 500 likes, 1,000, 2,000. Ava, Donna said carefully. This is going to get very big, very fast. Are you okay with that? I looked at the video again. At Laura destroying my mother's dress with scissors she'd brought specifically for that purpose. Yeah, I said. I'm okay with it. Because for the first time in years, Laura couldn't lie her way out of this. Everyone could see exactly what she'd done. And she was about to learn what happens when you mess with the wrong person. The video went viral, and I mean viral. Laura's about to face real consequences, and Dad's about to realize he can't make this go away. My phone rang about 10 minutes after the family chat explosion. Dad's name flashed on the screen. Scott saw it and put a hand on my arm. "You don't have to answer." "No, I want to." I needed to hear what excuse he'd come up with this time. I answered, "Dad?" "Ava." His voice was tight, angry. "What the hell were you thinking? Posting that video to the family chat? Do you have any idea what you've done?" I almost laughed. "What I've done? Dad, did you watch the video? Did you see what Laura did?" I saw it, and yes, Laura made a mistake, a big one, but posting it to the entire family? Humiliating her like that? That was completely out of line. Out of line? My voice was rising. "She broke into my apartment. She destroyed Mom's wedding dress. She brought scissors, Dad. She planned this. She was upset. You've been so cruel to her, refusing to accept her, throwing your mother in her face at every opportunity because she threw away Mom's photos." I was yelling now. "Because she's been trying to erase Mom from our lives since day one. Your mother is gone, Ava." Dad's voice cracked. "She's been gone for 11 years. At some point, you need to move on." The words hit me like a slap. "Move on?" I said quietly. "Is that what you did, Dad? Moved on so fast you married someone who hates your daughter? Someone who destroyed the one thing I had left of Mom?" "Laura doesn't hate you. She's tried so hard to have a relationship with you, and you've rejected her at every turn. She destroyed Mom's dress." I said each word slowly, clearly, with scissors, on camera. "How are you defending this?" "I'm not defending it. I'm saying you didn't have to blast it to the entire family. My parents, your aunts and uncles, everyone. They're all calling me, yelling at me, blaming me, because you gave her access to the key to my apartment." I shouted. "You're the reason she was able to get in. I gave you that key for emergencies, and Laura used it to commit a crime. Dad, she broke the law. Scott's mom is filing a police report on Monday. This isn't just family drama anymore. This is criminal." Silence on the other end. "Then, you're going to press charges? Against Laura?" "Yes, breaking and entering, destruction of property. The dress cost thousands to restore and now it's ruined. She's going to pay for what she did." "Ava, please." His voice changed, got softer, pleading. "Please don't do this. She's fragile right now. She's devastated. She knows she made a mistake. I don't give a damn about her, Dad. She's not fragile, Dad. She's manipulative, and you fall for it every single time. She's my wife, and I'm your daughter." My voice broke. "I'm your daughter, and you've chosen her over me again and again. When she threw away Mom's photos, you took her side. When I tried to tell you how she treated me, you didn't believe me. And now, when there's literal video evidence of her destroying something precious to me, you're still defending her." "I'm not." "Yes, you are. You're more worried about her feelings than mine. You're more worried about what the family thinks of you than what Laura did to me." He didn't respond. I could hear him breathing on the other end, and I knew he knew I was right. "Ava," he said finally, his voice tired, "just take down the video from the chat. Please. Let's handle this privately. Family therapy, maybe. We can work through this." "No." "Ava, what do you mean, no?" "No, Dad, I'm done. I'm done protecting Laura's feelings. I'm done letting you choose her over me. And I'm done pretending we're some happy family when you let your wife destroy the last piece of my mother I had." "Ava, Laura's not invited to my wedding, and honestly, right now I'm not sure you are either." I hung up before he could respond. My hands were shaking. Scott immediately pulled me into a hug. "You did good," he murmured into my hair. "I'm proud of you." Donna nodded approvingly. "He's going to call back, probably multiple times. Let him stew for a bit." She was right. My phone rang again, almost immediately. I declined the call. It rang again, declined. A text came through. "Dad, Ava, please pick up. We need to talk about this." I turned my phone face down on the table. "He still doesn't get it," I said quietly. "He will," Donna said. "Eventually, when the consequences start hitting." My phone buzzed with another notification. The Instagram post was now at 5,000 likes and climbing fast. Emily posted it publicly. "It's going viral." "Good," Donna said simply. "Let it. The more people who see what Laura did, the harder it is for your father to sweep this under the rug." My phone rang again. "Dad," I let it ring. Because Donna was right. This was just the beginning, and Dad had no idea what was coming. Dad still doesn't get it. He's more worried about his reputation and Laura's feelings than what she actually did to me. But things are about to get a lot worse for both of them. My dad, Jeffrey, sat on the couch, head in his hands, while Laura paced back and forth across the living room. "This is a disaster," she kept saying. "Your family hates me. What are we going to do?" Jeffrey didn't answer. He was still processing what he'd seen in that video. Laura walking into Ava's apartment, searching through it, finding the dress, pulling out scissors. She'd brought scissors. She'd planned it. "Jeffrey, are you even listening to me?" He looked up at her, and for the first time in their 5-year marriage, he felt real anger. "You brought scissors," he said quietly. Laura stopped pacing. "What?" "You didn't lose control. You didn't make a mistake. You planned to destroy that dress." "I was angry. You took my key, went to their apartment, and deliberately destroyed Gina's wedding dress." "Don't say her name like she was a saint. She's been dead for over a decade." Jeffrey stood up. "She's Ava's mother, and you threw away her photos. What did you expect? They were making you insecure." Jeffrey's voice rose. "You couldn't stand that I still loved Gina, so you tried to erase her." Laura's eyes filled with tears. "That's not fair. Be honest, Laura. You've been jealous of a dead woman since the day we got married." He sat back down heavily. "And I let you. I chose keeping the peace over defending my daughter." Laura sank into the chair, mascara running. "We can fix this." "How?" He looked at her. "You broke into her apartment, destroyed her mother's dress on camera. The entire family has seen it. And Ava..." His voice cracked. "Ava said I might not be invited to her wedding. She didn't mean that." "Yes, she did, and I deserve it." Laura was crying now. "Are you leaving me?" Jeffrey looked at his wife and felt exhausted. "No, I'm not leaving you." Laura's face flooded with relief. "But you've destroyed my relationship with my daughter. It's been 5 years and you're still jealous of my late wife." "Jeffrey, I've been dreaming about walking Ava down the aisle since she was born. When she was little, she'd put a towel on her head like a veil and ask me to practice walking with her." His voice broke. "That was our thing, and now it's never going to happen. Because of you." He walked to the bedroom and closed the door. Inside, he opened the nightstand drawer and pulled out an old photo. Ava at 5 with a towel veil holding his hand, grinning. "Daddy, let's practice for my wedding." He'd lost Gina, and now he'd lost Ava too. Laura eventually came to bed, curling into his side like always. But Jeffrey didn't put his arm around her. Laura's hand found his, squeezing. He let her hold it, but didn't squeeze back. "I'm sorry," she whispered, but his voice was empty. Laura fell asleep, still clinging to his hand. Jeffrey lay awake, thinking about the wedding he'd never attend. Beside him, Laura slept, unaware that even though she'd kept him, she'd already lost him. Laura woke up Sunday morning with Jeffrey's side of the bed already empty. She found him in the kitchen, staring at his phone. "Good morning," she said tentatively. He glanced up, nodded, and went back to his phone without a word. "Jeffrey, can we?" "Don't go anywhere today and don't look at social media." "What? Why?" He turned his phone toward her. Emily's Instagram post, the video, 47,000 likes, 12,000 shares. It's everywhere. Someone at work sent it to me this morning. "Jeffrey, I'm going out." He grabbed his keys and left. Laura sat alone, then picked up her phone despite his warning. The comments were brutal. What kind of monster does this? Being jealous of a dead woman is pathetic. She needs to be arrested. She made her profile private, but it was too late. By late afternoon, she couldn't take it anymore. She needed air. She opened the front door to check the mailbox. Mrs. Patterson from next door was walking her dog. Laura raised her hand. "Hi, Mrs." Mrs. Patterson looked directly at her. Her expression changed to disgust. She didn't wave, just stared with contempt, shook her head, and walked away. Laura stood frozen. Everyone knew. She hurried back inside and closed the curtains. Jeffrey didn't come home until after dark. He went straight to the bedroom without a word. Laura sat alone in the dark. This was her life now. Monday morning, my phone rang. It was Dad. I answered. "Dad, Ava, can we talk?" "What is there to talk about?" "Ava, I want to fix this. The dress. I'll pay for it, whatever it costs." "Dad, stop. You can't fix it. Just tell me what it cost and I'll double it." "It's destroyed, Dad. Laura cut it to pieces with scissors. No professional can save it." Silence. That dress survived almost 30 years and Laura destroyed it in 5 minutes. "Are you? Because you're still with her." "Ava, please, can we meet?" No, Donna's filing a police report this morning. Breaking and entering, destruction of property. You're pressing charges? Yes, Dad. Ava, please don't. Laura could go to jail. I don't care about her, Dad. Her reputation is already gone. The video has over 50,000 shares. We're family. We're not family, Dad. Not anymore. You made your choice 5 years ago, and you're making it right now. Ava, don't call me again unless you're ready to actually choose me for once. Then I hung up. I couldn't deal with this merry-go-round with Dad anymore. My dad, Jeffrey, sat in his car for a long time before going inside. The police report had been filed. Donna had called him. Breaking and entering, destruction of property, $8,000. Laura would be charged, probably arrested within the week. He went inside. We need to talk, Jeffrey said. Laura looked up hopefully. Did you talk to Ava? No. Ava's not dropping the charges. The police report was filed this morning. What? Breaking and entering, destruction of property, $8,000. But I didn't mean... You brought scissors, Laura? You planned it? Laura stood, pacing. What's going to happen to me? Probably a guilty plea, restitution, probation, community service. If you're lucky, you'll avoid jail. Then you shouldn't have broken into my daughter's apartment. Laura stared, tears streaming. You're not going to help me. I'm getting you a lawyer. I'm paying for your defense, but I can't make this go away. What you did is on video. So what do we do? There is nothing else we can do. You need to face the music. You take responsibility, and then we move. Move? We can't stay here. The whole neighborhood knows. Everyone knows. He rubbed his face. I called a realtor. We're putting the house on the market. Where? Somewhere no one knows us. But first you deal with the consequences. He walked to the bedroom, leaving her crying. 3 days after the police report was filed, Donna came by with coffee and an offer that changed everything. She and Elias wanted to have my mother's wedding dress remade, an exact replica using all the documentation from the professional restoration. She knew a designer who specialized in vintage dress recreation. At first, I couldn't accept. It felt like too much, and it wouldn't be her dress, not the one Mom actually wore. But Donna asked me what my mom would want, and I knew the answer. Mom would want me to be happy on my wedding day. She'd want to be there with me, even if it was just in spirit. So I said yes. Donna hugged me while I cried, not just from grief this time, but from gratitude and hope. This was what real family did. Not throwing money at problems or destroying things out of jealousy, but showing up and helping you heal. It wouldn't be the same dress, but it would be close. And maybe that would be enough. The dress was perfect. I stood in front of the mirror in the bridal suite, and for a moment I forgot to breathe. It looked exactly like my mother's dress. The designer had recreated it flawlessly. It wasn't the same dress, but it was close enough. "Oh, sweetheart," Aunt Maria whispered, "you look just like her." "You think so?" "I know so. Gina would be so proud of you." Donna appeared in the doorway, already crying. "It's time. Are you ready?" I nodded. The garden venue was perfect. White chairs, flowers, soft music. Everyone I loved was there. Scott was waiting at the altar, and the look on his face when he saw me made everything worth it. Uncle David stood beside me, offering his arm. "You sure? If you want to walk alone?" "No, I want you with me. Mom would want you with me." He kissed my forehead. "Then let's go get you married." I walked down the aisle in a dress that looked just like my mother's, with my uncle by my side, toward the man I loved. I didn't look at the empty seat where my father should have been. I looked forward, not back. At the reception, Donna pulled me aside. "Your father's been texting me. He saw photos of the dress on social media." My chest tightened. "What did he say?" "He said it's beautiful, that you look just like your mother, and that he's sorry he wasn't there." "Did he ask if he could come?" "No. He said he knew he wasn't invited. He just wanted me to tell you he was thinking of you." I was quiet. Maybe someday I'll be ready to talk to him, but not now. Donna squeezed my hand. "Take all the time you need." Scott swept me onto the dance floor, and for the first time in months, the weight lifted. My father wasn't there, but I was surrounded by people who loved me. And as I danced with my husband, wearing a dress that honored my mother's memory, I realized Laura had tried to take this moment away from me, but she'd failed. because love, real love, couldn't be destroyed with scissors. My mother was there with me, in the dress, in the memories, in the way Uncle David had walked me down the aisle, and I was happy. 3 months after the wedding, Laura stood in the courtroom as the judge read her sentence. Guilty plea. Restitution $8,000. Probation 2 years. Community service 200 hours. No jail time, but a permanent record. They'd moved to a town 2 hours away. Jeffrey worked at a smaller firm. Laura stayed home, avoiding everything. Their house was smaller, quieter, lonelier. My childhood home? Gone. Dad had stopped loving her the way he used to. He was polite but distant. Laura had kept my dad, but she'd lost everything else. 1 year after the wedding, I opened my mailbox and found a card. The return address was from a town I didn't recognize, my father's handwriting. Inside was a simple card. Ava, I saw the wedding photos. You looked beautiful, just like your mother. I know I have no right to ask for forgiveness, but I want you to know I think about you every day. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry for all of it. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. I love you. I always have. Dad. I read it twice, then set it on the counter. Scott came up behind me. You okay? Yeah, I think I am. Are you going to respond? I thought about it, about the years of choosing Laura over me, about the destroyed dress, about the wedding he'd missed. But I also thought about the little girl who'd practiced walking down the aisle with a towel on her head. Maybe, someday, when I'm ready. Scott kissed my temple. Take all the time you need. I folded the card and tucked it into a drawer, not throwing it away, not answering it yet, just keeping it. Maybe someday. I still love my father. I got my wedding, I got my dress, I got my happy ending, not the one I'd originally imagined, but a good one. Laura faced consequences. Dad lost his daughter, but learned too late what mattered. And me? I moved forward, surrounded by real family, with the door cracked open just slightly for forgiveness. Someday. Maybe. Thanks for following this story. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know what you thought in the comments. See you next time.
If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Don't forget to follow for more content just like this. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.